मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
तरणं मधुरं तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
कुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीथी मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपी मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
इस देश की माटी,
चंदन है इस देश की माटी, हर नाम है, तपोभूमि हर नाम है। हर माला देवी की प्रतिमा, हर माला देवी की प्रतिमा, बच्चा बच्चा राम है, बच्चा बच्चा राम है। चंदन है इस देश की माटी, तपोभूमि हर नाम है, तपोभूमि हर नाम है।
हर माला देवी की प्रतिमा,
हर माला देवी की प्रतिमा,
बच्चा बच्चा राम है,
बच्चा बच्चा राम है।
शरीर मंदिर सा पावन,
हर शरीर मंदिर सा पावन,
हर मानव उपकारी है,
हर मानव उपकारी है।
जहाँ सिंह बन गए खिलौने,
जहाँ सिंह बन गए खिलौने,
गाय जहाँ माँ प्यारी है,
गाय जहाँ माँ प्यारी है।
मेरा शंख बजाता,
जहाँ सवेरा शंख बजाता,
लोरी गाती शाम है,
लोरी गाती शाम है।
हर माला देवी की प्रतिमा,
हर माला देवी की प्रतिमा,
बच्चा बच्चा राम है,
बच्चा बच्चा राम है।
चंदन है इस देश की माटी,
चंदन है इस देश की माटी,
तपोभूमि हर राम है,
तपोभूमि हर धाम है।
हर माता देवी की प्रतिमा,
हर माला देवी की प्रतिमा,
बच्चा बच्चा राम है।
जहाँ कर्म से भाग्य बदलते,
जहाँ कर्म से भाग्य बदलते, श्रमनिष्ठा कल्याणी है,
श्रमनिष्ठा कल्याणी है।
याद और जप की गाथाएं,
याद और तप की गाथाएं,
कवि की वाणी,
गाती कवि की वाणी है।
गंगा जलसा,
जहाँ का गंगा जलसा,
गंगा जलसा,
गंगा जलसा, जहाँ का गंगा जलसा।
निर्मल है अवराम है,
निर्मल है अभिराम है।
हर माला देवी की प्रतिमा,
हर माला देवी की प्रतिमा,
बच्चा बच्चा राम है,
बच्चा बच्चा राम है।
चंदन है इस देश की माटी,
चंदन है इस देश की माटी,
तपोभूमि हर राम है,
तपोभूमि हर ग्राम है।
हर माला देवी की प्रतिमा,
हर माला देवी की प्रतिमा,
बच्चा बच्चा राम है,
बच्चा बच्चा राम है।
बच्चा बच्चा राम,
बच्चा बच्चा राम है।
अधरं मधुरं वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
रेणुर्मधुरो रेणुर्मधुरः पाणिर्मधुरः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गीतं मधुरं पीतं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
तरणं मधुरं तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
कुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीथी मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपी मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी बरनउ रघुबर विमल जसु जोदायकु फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति हूँ लोक उजागर। रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी। कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा। हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन। विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर। प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा। भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे। लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए। रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई। सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे। सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा। जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते। तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा। तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना। जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानू। प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे। सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन तेज संहारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा कीजय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय।
सच्चिदानन्दं वासुदेवं
राजप्रियम् धर्म संस्थापकं वीरम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। संस्कृति का वैभव जग
Jai Shri Krishna. A warm welcome to all the Gita sadhaks in today's Zoom session. On this auspicious occasion of Vaishakh Pratipada, followed by Mesh Sankranti, to be followed by the end of Khar Masa, marking the festivities in the different parts of our great nation Bharat. That is the harvest festival of Baisakhi, especially in North India and mainly in Punjab. And at the extreme south end, Vishu, in Kerala, the festival of worshipping Lord Vishnu, offering the newly harvested crops and prasad. I, Harish Arora, extend my heartfelt best wishes from the bottom of my heart to all the esteemed Gita sadhaks, devotees joining this Zoom platform for interpretation of Lord's preachings in 18th chapter of Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā, one of the most sacred scriptures in the whole world. How beautiful and wonderful it is, the fact that globally we are all unrelated, yet we are related across the globe in this material global world as siblings bonded by Gita and its preachings, the mother of all scriptures, and the Vangmay avatar of Lord Krishna, containing the verses of his holy sayings in the form of this scripture, Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā. We most humbly, in total devotion, surrender ourselves unconditionally in the lotus feet of Yogeshwar Bhagwan Shri Krishna. In prostrate posture with folded hands, doing Koti Koti Sashtang Dandavat Pranam. With great regards and devotion, we are offering Shat Shat Naman to the microscopic presence of Param Pujya Pratasmarniye Anant Shri Vibhushit Swamiji Shri Govind Dev Giri Ji Maharaj, seeking his divine blessings Once again, I, Harish Arora, feeling extremely privileged to welcome you all on behalf of Geeta Pariwar in today's very, very important interpretation session on Zoom platform on the verses contained in 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Moksha Sannyas Yoga. At the beginning, we offer our prayers to the Lord Krishna in the lotus feet of Lord Krishna for seeking his blessings. For offering opening prayer, I invite Geeta Shastri Ji. Geeta Shastri Ji is from Karnataka Hospital. She is a homemaker. She's MCom and joined Geeta Pariwar in January 2023. She's giving seva as tech support for all the levels, and she's providing seva as co-trainer for level 1 classes. You're most welcome, Didi. Geeta Shastri Ji. Yeah,
Jai Shri
please, you're welcome to pay prayer on behalf of all of us.
वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं जय श्री कृष्ण.
Thank you very much, Geeta Shastri Ji, for your melodious, soulful prayer, beautifully sung by you. Thank you very much, Didi. Now we move on to for the deep prajvalan. The light of deep clears all the darkness of ignorance, and we seek Lord Krishna Almighty's blessings to clear all the ignorances, all the darknesses from all of us. For deep prajvalan, I'm glad to invite Panduranga Marathe Ji. Panduranga Marathe Ji, you're welcome. Panduranga Marathe Ji is from Ujjire near Dharamshala. His profession is agriculture. He is retired from bank profession. He is involved in dairy activities. His education is BCom. And in Geeta Pariwar, he is rendering the seva as group coordinator for L1 and L2 classes. He has cleared Pathak exam, and now he is sadhak as is at L4 level 4 level. He joined Geeta Pariwar in March 2024. You are most welcome, Panduranga Marathe Ji, for deep prajvalan.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैरिन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम् शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृताम् कलहंसकृतावासां वरदां शारदा नुमः।
Thank you very much for the divine deep prajwalan, Bhaiya, and letting us have the darshans of divine Vigraha. Before we move on to the interpretation session, for which we are anxiously waiting for, an announcement is there that you all sadhaks are kindly requested to share the links of Vivechan Satras, YouTube link as well as Zoom link with your family, friends, relatives, and colleagues. And as all of you know, that from tomorrow, 14th of April 2025, new batch, level 1 batch, 39th one, is going to commence in 21 time slots in 13 languages as per the choice of sadhaks. So all of you are welcome. Now the moment has come for which we have been curiously waiting for. I'm feeling highly honored to introduce our eminent speaker this evening, who is none other than very senior trainer of Geeta Pariwar, respected Shri VikasJi Vaidya ji. Bhaiya is highly qualified. He is BE Mechanical, PG DBM, an NRI for 12 years and has widely traveled across the globe. He's owning and promoting an IT company based in Pune, Maharashtra. Bhaiya is proficient in multi languages. He is well versed in Hindi, Marathi, English, Indonesian, Malaysian, and Spanish language. Bhaiya ji has been reciting all the 18 chapters of Gita on daily basis for the past more than 5 years. Bhaiya is a senior trainer in Geeta Pariwar from L1 to L4 level and is involved actively in trainers selection process and trainers training from the level 1 to level 4. Bhaiya is actively involved in teaching and Vivechan of Shri Vishnu Sahasranam as member of Pune Geeta Pariwar. Vikas Vaidya ji has been guiding Geeta Vratis to prepare for Sringeri Peeth Geeta examination. Bhaiya has already given Geeta Kanthasth exam at Sringeri Peeth and he received first prize at the hands of Param Pujya Jagat Guru Shankaracharya Ji Maharaj. A very, very warm welcome, respected Shri VikasJi Vaidya ji, to kindly enlighten us with your rich experience and deep and wide spiritual knowledge and wisdom. Bhaiya, VikasJi Bhaiya, you are welcome for this interpretation session.
वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं जय श्री कृष्ण टू ऑल। पूज्य स्वामी जी के चरण कमलों में कोटि कोटि नमन। We are discussing अध्याय 18 मोक्ष संन्यास योग. Today we will conclude the अध्याय. Last time, in last session, we discussed two shlokas at the end of session, 64 and 65. 64 slok was Sarvaguhyatamam bhuya shruname paramam vachaha ishtosi me dhrudamiti tato vakshyami te hitam. So here again from me, Krishna said, my supreme instructions, my Sarvaguhyatamam knowledge, the most confidential of all knowledge, I am revealing this to you because you are very dear to me. Then in 65th sloka, Paramatma had said, Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhya jiman namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyente pratiyane priyosi me. So always think of me, be devoted to me. Manmana bhavan bhakto madhyaji, always worship me and offer your obeisances, namaskaram to me. Man namaskrutu. Mame vaishyasi satyente pratiyane priyosi me. Now, was this the Sarvaguhitam knowledge Paramatma wanted to say? No, this has been said earlier also, no? In earlier adhyas also. So, what is that Guhitam? Sarvaguhitam knowledge that we'll discuss from today's first shloka, slok number 66. This is the Sarvaguhitam knowledge. Slok 66. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja ahantva sarvapapebhyo mokshayashyami ma shuchaha. Sarvadharman parityaja, abandon all dharmas, all varieties of dharmas. Sounds little strange, but Paramatma says, abandon all varieties of dharma and simply surrender to me. Mamekam sharanam braja. Surrender to me alone. I shall liberate you from all the sinful reactions, all the papa karma. Do not fear, do not worry. Sarvadharman parityajya, mamekam sharanam braja. Ahantva sarva papebhyo. I will take care of all your papa karmas, all sinful reactions. Moksha ishya masha. I will give the moksha. Mashucha. Don't worry, don't be afraid. So all along Krishna has been asking Arjuna to do two things in Bhagavad Gita. To do two things simultaneously. One, his mind in devotion and engage his body in fulfilling the material duty as a warrior. So mind and body, mind should be in devotion, in the state of devotion, and the body should be applied to perform his duty, material duty as a warrior, as a kshatriya. He thus urged Arjuna not to give up his kshatriya dharma, but to do devotion alongside with it. Perform your dharma as kshatriya, but alongside you should also have devotional mind. This is the principle of karma yoga that we have learnt in Bhagavad Gita. Now, Shri Krishna reverses this teaching. Shri Krishna is reversing this teaching by saying that there is no need to even fulfill the material dharma. Sarvadharman parityaja, chhod do, wo bhi chhod do. Arjuna can renounce all material duties and simply surrender to God. This is the principle of karma sannyas. Here one may question that if we give up material dharmas, will it not incur sin for us? If we leave all our material duties, shall we not incur sin? Shri Krishna is telling Arjuna, not fear, Mashucha. He will absolve him of all the sins and liberate him from the material existence. Moksha ishyami Mashucha. Now to understand these instructions of Shri Krishna, we need to understand the term dharma. What is dharma? It comes from the Sanskrit root word dhri. Dhri means dharan karne yogya. So our responsibilities, our duties, our thoughts and our actions that are appropriate for us is our dharma. Knowing this definition of dharma, we can know that there are two kinds of dharmas. One is the material dharma and second is spiritual dharma. How do they differ? These two kinds of dharmas are based on two different understandings of the self. When we identify ourselves as body, then our dharma is determined in accordance with our material designations, our material obligations, our material duties, and our material norms. That means serving our physical parents, fulfilling responsibilities towards society, towards our country. These are all the parts of material dharma. This is also called as apara dharma or the material dharma. So this is the material dharma. This includes our dharma as a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. This also includes our dharma as Brahmachari, Grastha-ashrami, Sannyasi and all that. So when we identify ourselves as soul, this was when we are identifying ourselves as body. But when we identify ourselves as soul, we have no material designations of varna, social class, no such thing. No ashramas, the status in life. Hence, our one and only one dharma becomes offering loving devotional services to the God. That is the spiritual dharma. This is called the para dharma or the spiritual dharma. If one leaves the material dharma, it is considered as a sin. He did not perform his prescribed duty in life. So it is considered as a sin due to avoidance of duty. But if one leaves material dharma and takes shelter of spiritual dharma, then it is not a sin. Then it is not a sin. Śrīmad-Bhagavad says there are 5 debts for those who do not offer devotional service to God. Those who do not offer devotional service to God, they have 5 debts to be repaid. First is to the celestial gods, then to the sages, then to their ancestors, and to other human beings and to other living beings. The Varnashram system includes various procedures for releasing ourselves from these 5 types of debts. This is like, just by watering the roots of the tree, all its branches, its twigs, leaves, flowers, fruits automatically get the water. We don't water everything, in the tree. We water only the roots. Similarly, by fulfilling our duty towards the God, we automatically fulfill our duty towards everyone. Celestial gods, sages, ancestors, everybody. Hence, there is sin in renouncing the material dharma. If you are worshipping God, you are following spiritual dharma, then there is no sin in leaving your material dharma. If we are properly situated in the spiritual dharma. In fact, the ultimate goal is to get engaged completely and wholeheartedly in spiritual dharma. Śrīmad-Bhagavad says, Krishna says in Śrīmad-Bhagavad that I have given innumerable instructions regarding performance of dharma in Vedas. But those who realize the shortcomings in these and renounce all prescribed duties to simply engage in my devotional service, I consider them to be the best of sadhaks. Spiritual dharma is always better than material dharma. In Ramayana also, we know that Lakshmana renounced all his material duties to accompany Śrīram-ji in the forest. Did he perform his duties towards his family, his wife, his children? Did he perform his duties towards the kingdom? No, he left all that. He relinquished all material duties and accompanied Śrīram in the forest. Lakshmana said that time that, "O Lord, please believe me. Please believe me. I do not know any teacher. I do not know father. I do not know mother or any other relatives. As far as I am concerned, you are the savior of the fallen. You are the knower of the heart. You are my master and my everything." So he surrendered to Śrīram to follow the path of spirituality, giving up all his material duties. Similarly, Bhakta Prahlad, he said, I do not know my mother, I do not know my father or any other relatives. God is everything for me. Same example. In Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna gives Arjuna higher instructions. Initially, he instructed Arjuna to do karma, that is his material dharma as a warrior. In second adhyay, Paramatma said, Swadharmam apicha aveksha navikam pitumarhasi dharmyadhyuddha shreyo nyat kshatriyasya vidyate. So perform your swadharma. As a warrior, as a kshatriya, get into the war. But material dharma does not result in God realization. It leads to celestial abodes. That means you can get Svargaloka. That also is clarified in second adhyay. That you perform your swadharma, what you can get is Svargaloka. And once pious merits are depleted in the Svargaloka, our deposit of sattvic karma get depleted, one has to come back. It is a two-way traffic. Go there and come back again. And Shri Krishna next instructed Arjuna to do karma yoga. That is, his material dharma with body and spiritual dharma with the mind. That is karma yoga. He asked Arjuna to fight the war with the body and remember God in the mind. In 8th Adhyaya, there is a slok, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmari yudhyacha mayyarpita mano buddhir mame vaishyasya samshayam. So mamanusmara and yuddha. Remember me and do your kartavya karma also. This instruction of karma yoga forms the major portion of Bhagavad Gita. Mamanusmari yudhyacha. This slok is very important from 8th Adhyaya. Now, at the very end of Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna instructs Arjuna to practice karma sannyas. That is, renounce all material dharma and simply adopt spiritual dharma, which is love for God, devotion for God. He should thus fight, not because it is his duty as a warrior, but because God wants him to do that. This is the spiritual way of thinking. So this is way beyond the material dharma. Now the question is, why Shri Krishna not giving this instruction to Arjuna earlier of karma sannyas? Why did he seem to give new understanding, which is seemingly opposite to the instructions given in 5th Adhyaya? In 2nd shloka, Paramatma had said, Sannyasa karma yogascha nishreyasakara vibho tayost karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. There Shri Krishna had said, karma yoga is better than karma sannyas. So why the change in tone now? Lord Krishna will clearly explain this in the next shloka, why the change is taking place now. So the 67th shloka, Paramatma says, Idante na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha shushrūshave vachan na cha mayo bhisuyati. This instruction should never be explained to those who are not austere, nor to those who are not devoted. It should also not be spoken to those who are averse to listening to the spiritual topics, and especially not to those who are envious of me. Abhyasuyati. Now it was explained in Shlok 66 what we read, Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamikam Sharana Praja Ahantva Sarvapebhyo Mokshayashyama Ashuja. That if one is situated in loving devotion to the God, there is no sin in giving up the material duties. However, there is one problem with this instruction. If we have not yet become fully immersed in the love for God, we are not fully devoted in the spiritual path, the spiritual dharma, and we prematurely give up our material duties, then what will happen? We will be neither here nor there. Dhobi ka kutta na ghar ka na ghat ka. Neither material dharma nor spiritual dharma. Thus, karma sannyas is only for those who are qualified for it. And that we are qualified for karma sannyas is determined by our guru. We cannot find it. Who knows our capabilities? The stringencies of spiritual path. If a student wishes, for example, to become a graduate, it will not do to go directly to the graduation ceremony. Can you go directly to the graduation ceremony without completing? We will begin studying sequentially from grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that, no? Similarly, a vast majority of people are eligible for karma yoga. It would be great folly for them to prematurely take karma sannyas. So they have to follow the steps of karma yoga before becoming a karma sannyasi. It is better to instruct them to fulfill their material dharma, practice devotion alongside. And when they are expert in doing this balancing act of material dharma and practicing devotion alongside, then they become qualified for karma sannyas. That is why in this shlok, Shri Krishna says that this confidential knowledge, Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamikam Sharanam Praja, and or the teaching to be given by him is not for everyone. Before sharing it with others, we should check their eligibility for teaching. Idante natapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana nacha shushrūshave vachan nachama yobesuyati. This word of caution applies specifically for the confidential teachings of previous shloka, Sarvadharman Parityaja, as well as all the entire Bhagavad Gita, the message of Bhagavad Gita. If it is explained to someone who is envious of Shri Krishna, that person may respond wrongfully. Oh, Shri Krishna is very conceited. He is very highly egoistic. He always asking Arjuna to constantly glorify him. So this is a misunderstanding that may get developed. By misunderstanding the teachings, the faithless listener will be harmed by the divine message. Half knowledge is very dangerous. The Padma Purana also says this. It says, by giving transcendental spiritual knowledge instructions to those who are faithless, Shraddha nahi hai, and they are averse to the God, we cause them to become offenders. They become even stronger offender. By giving them this spiritual message which they don't understand, but rather they get a more stubborn attitude. And Shri Krishna describes the disqualification for listeners in this shloka. Next shloka, 68. Ye imam paramam guhyam madbhakteshva vidasyati bhaktim mayim parang krutva mame vaishyatya samshaya. Amongst my devotees, those who teach this most confidential knowledge perform the greatest act of love, greatest act of devotion, they will come to me, and that is without doubt. Mame vaishyasya samshaya, asamshaya. There is no doubt about it. For those who spread this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So Shri Krishna now declares the consequences of properly preaching the message of Bhagavad Gita. He says, such preachers, such teachers attain his parabhakti, and then they attain him. Bhakti mayim parankrutva. After attaining that parabhakti, mame vaishyatya asamshaya. They attain my parabhakti, and then they attain me, and there is no doubt about it. The opportunity to engage in devotion to Lord Krishna is a special blessing of God. All of us who have joined Gita Pariwar, it's a special blessing of Shri Krishna on us. But the opportunity to help others engage in devotion is even bigger blessings. So those who are working in Gita Pariwar, spreading this message of Bhagavad Gita to all possible people who are interested in learning it, on them the spiritual grace of Paramatma is even bigger. Whenever we share something good with others, we benefit from that also. When we share whatever knowledge we have with others, the grace, our knowledge increases as well. By teaching, you learn more. That is what we say. So the Gita Pariwar trainers who are expert in teaching for many years, you ask them, they will say by teaching we have learned more Gita than what we were knowing earlier before we started teaching. So by offering, giving food to others, we never go hungry. We never go hungry ourselves. Sant Kabir has said it very appropriately, that the wealth does not decrease by giving it in charity. Wealth does not decrease by giving it in charity. A river does not become narrow though people take water from it. And he says further, I am not saying this without basis. See it for yourself in the world. So this fact can be corroborated with all the things in the world, that whatever we give, it does not cause any harm. Knowledge, share it. Money, share it. Time, share it. Thus, those who share the spiritual knowledge of Bhagavad Gita with others, they receive the highest blessings for themselves. Slok 69. Nacha tasman manusheshu kaschinme priyakruttamaha bhavita nacha me tasmad anya priyataro bhuvi. Paramatma says, no human being does more loving service to me than they. Who is they? As per earlier shloka, 68th shloka. Or shall ever there be anyone on the earth more dear to me? So Shri Krishna likes those people who teach this Bhagavad Gita message to the humanity. Of all the gifts we can give to others, the gift of spiritual knowledge is one of the best, highest, because it has the capacity to transform the life of the recipient eternally. Now you can realize this yourself. You joined Gita Pariwar, started learning in L1, Adhyay 12th and 15th, Bhakti Yoga and Purushottam Yoga. And today we are at the end of our journey of learning Bhagavad Gita. 18th Adhyay is getting completed. When we have traveled such a long distance for many months and come to the end of Gita, what has changed in you? You can introspect yourself, which you yourself can notice, and also it can be noticed by people around you. Change on learning of Bhagavad Gita is imminent. Everybody changes. If you have the faith, you have the Shraddha, Gita will change you totally. King Janak, the father of Sita, he had asked his guru, the transcendental knowledge bestowed upon me is so precious that I feel deeply indebted to you. What can I do for you in return? His guru, Ashtavakra, he said, there is nothing you can give that will relinquish you from your debt. Nothing you can give. The knowledge I gave you was divine, and all that you possess is material. Worldly objects can never be a price for the divine knowledge. You cannot pay money and say that I have got the knowledge. But you can do one thing, he said. If you ever find someone who is thirsty for this knowledge, share it with him. Share it with him. That is the way to repay the knowledge. Whatever knowledge we have acquired, thanks to our Guru, we should share it with others. So Sri Krishna states that he considers sharing of knowledge of Bhagavad Gita as the highest loving service one can render to the God. Now on a lighter note, I must say that why do you think all members of Gita Pariwar are so dedicated in their free service of giving whatever little they have to others? If they have time, they will give time. If they have understood and they can explain Gita, they will join as trainer or Vivechak or whatever. Members are disparate in Gita Pariwar to offer their services, their seva in whatever position they can. Be it trainer, tech, GC, BC, document sharing, calling service, any kind of seva, they are interested in doing it. Because they have understood this slok very well. This slok gives that answer. All of us want to become Shri Krishna's dear ones. That's why all are dedicated in their service to the Bhagavad Gita. However, word of caution, those who offer such seva on Bhagavad Gita should never feel that they are doing something very great. The proper attitude for them is to see oneself as an instrument in the hands of God and accord all credit to the grace of God for selecting him or her to offer this seva to Shri Krishna. So we are all blessed one. That is what we should always keep in mind. Slok 70. Adhyeshyate che imam dharmem samvadamavayoho jnana yajnena tenaha mishtasyamiti me matihi. Paramatma says, and I proclaim, I announce, I declare that those who study this sacred knowledge of dialogue between you and me, Arjuna, with their intellect, they will perform a jnana yajna for me. Jnana yajnena tena mishtasyamiti me mati. Me mati, in my opinion, they are performing jnana yajna. Such is my view. Me mati. Shri Krishna had repeatedly told Arjuna to surrender his intellect to him in many shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. Two examples are in Adhyay 8, as we read earlier. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusparyudhya mayyarpita mano buddhir mame vaishyasya samshaya. Mayyarpita mano buddhi. And then in 12th Adhyay also we have a slok. Mayyevan adhatsva may buddhin niveshaya nivasishyasi mayyeva ata urdhanna samshayaha. Now surrendering our intellect to Paramatma does not mean that we stop thinking. We stop using our intellect. That is not the meaning of surrendering intellect to Paramatma. Rather, it means that we utilize our intellect to the best of our ability in fulfilling His will for us. We utilize our intellect in fulfilling Krishna's will for us. From the message of Bhagavad Gita, we understand what is his will now. It is amply clear to those who have understood all 18 adhyayas of Bhagavad Gita what is Sri Krishna's will from us. As those who study this sacred dialogue worship God with their intellect. That is the announcement Krishna has made. Jnana yajnena tenaha mishtasyam iti me matihi. Now tell me, can there be any other easier means to perform a yajna for the God? Read Gita every day, contemplate on few of the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita every day, and then this is Paramatma is considering as you are performing a jnana yajna. Every day we can perform jnana yajna for Shri Krishna. There can be no other easier means than reading Bhagavad Gita or performing such a yajna for Shri Krishna. But somehow we always get scared with doing something like reading Gita every day. Oh my God, reading every day? I don't think I'll be not possible for me. But if we make small changes in our life, in our daily habits, we can achieve great results. No task is too big that it cannot be performed. Reading Gita is not a task that cannot be performed. It can be performed easily. But do we really take very big steps to bring change in life? Do we need to take very big steps? Let us discuss the power of atomic habits. Atomic habits. Phrase atomic habits. Atomic has two meanings. Something very small, atom, or a source of immense energy, atom bomb. So atomic has two meanings, very small and a source of great energy, immense energy. And habits are things we repeat every day. So atomic habits are those small habits that can make a big difference in our life. But how do tiny things turn into life-changing results in our life? One small incident or rather small story, the fate of British cycling changed in one day in 2003. The governing body for the professional cycling in Great Britain had recently hired one expert. His name was Dave Brailsford as its new performance director. Brailsford. Until then, the professional cyclists in Great Britain had endured nearly 100 years of mediocrity. They could not gain success in their life. Since 1908, British riders had won just one single gold medal in the Olympic Games. And they had fared even worse in the biggest competition of cycling, that is the Tour de France. In 110 years, no British cyclist had even one single event in the Tour de France. In fact, performance of British riders had been so underwhelming that one of the top bike manufacturers in Europe, they refused to sell bikes to the team of Britishers because they were afraid that it would hurt their sales if other professionals saw the British using their cycles. Because they are the loser all the time. This Brailsford had been hired to put British cycling on a new trajectory. What made him different from previous coaches was his relentless commitment to strategy that he wrote a book on that. He referred to that the aggregation of marginal gains, accumulation of marginal gains, aggregation of marginal gains, which was the philosophy of searching for tiny margin of improvement in everything that we do. So break your activity in small parts. Then target each segment of that activity and try to see what significant or small change we can make in that small tiny fragment of the action. Brailsford said the whole principle came from the idea that if you broke down everything you could think of that goes into riding a bicycle and then improve it by 1%, not much, 1%. You will get significant increase when you put them all together. And as a result, we will achieve a significant milestone in our record of cycling. So this Brailsford and his Curtis began making small adjustments you might expect from a professional cycling team. They redesigned the cycle seats, the bike seats, to make them more comfortable and rubbed alcohol on the tires for a better grip. On this, other than this, while riding, they asked riders to wear electrically heated overshorts to maintain ideal muscle temperature. They used biofeedback sensors to monitor how each athlete responded to the particular workout. The team tested various fabrics in wind tunnels and had their outdoor riders switch to the indoor racing suits, which proved to be lighter and more aerodynamic. So everything was thought of and then acted upon. But they did not stop there. This Brailsford and his team continued to find 1% improvement in overlooked and unexpected areas. They tested different types of massage gels to see which one led to the fastest muscle recovery. They hired a surgeon to teach each rider the best way to wash their hands to reduce the chances of getting a cold. They determined the type of pillow and mattress that led to the best night's sleep for them, for each rider. They even painted the inside of the team truck in white, which helped them spot little bits of dust that would normally slip by unnoticed, go unnoticed. But when you paint it totally white, you can spot even the smallest particle of dust. But it could degrade the performance of the finely tuned bikes if there is a dust, isn't it? So as these and hundreds of other small changes, improvements accumulated, the results came faster than anyone could have expected, could have imagined. In just 5 years, just 5 years after this Brailsford took over, the British cycling team dominated the road. Track cycling events at the 2008 Olympics in Beijing, they won an astounding 60% of the gold medals available, from 0 to 60%. 4 years later, when the Olympic Games came to London, the Britishers raised the bar that they set 9 Olympic records they got in London Olympics and 7 world records they created in London Olympics in 2012. That same year, Bradley Wiggins, he became the first British cyclist to win the Tour de France, which had deluded them all these years. The next year, his teammate Chris Froome, he won the race and he would go on winning the race again in 2015, 16, 17, giving the British team 5 Tour de France victories in 6 years. Magic. During the 10-year span from 2007 to 2017, British cyclists won 178 world championships and 66 Olympic or Paralympic gold medals. And they captured 5 Tour de France victories in what is widely regarded as the most successful run in the cycling history. And how all this happen? How did all this happen? Small changes. Small changes. How did the team previously ordinary, which was of ordinary athletes, transform into the world champions with tiny changes? The reason, which at first glance seems to be the best, is small changes in the habits. The combined effect of these small reforms resulted in the remarkable results. Now, what is the takeaway for us in this? We think that when we want to change our lives, we need to think big. We need to think big and make big changes in our life. But real change comes from the combined effect of hundreds of small changes. Success is the result of daily habits, not one-time change in the whole life. Daily habits. The thing to think about this is, how can we apply this attitude in our life to lift us up spiritually? Suppose, if we get up at 6 o'clock in the morning every day, make a small change. Make a small change and get up at 5:45. We'll be amazed to see how these 15 minutes can help us to redesign our daily activity calendar more effectively and bring change. An important gift of the practice of meditation is discernment. That means the ability to judge well. Meditation teaches us this. You start judging this thing very well. A meditative mind, it's constantly and immediately recognizes what is right for me, what is developing for me, how can I upgrade myself. When there is such clarity in our thoughts, decisions are taken quickly, and even when there is little information, we can count on that information and take proper decisions. So the message is, small changes in our daily habits can make us much better persons than what we are today. Like waking up 15 minutes earlier is a small change, no? Not a very big change, but it can make us a better person. Okay, having understood this, we'll go to next sloka. Shraddhavananasuyascha shrunuyadapi yo naraha sopi mukta shubhan lokan prapnuyat punya karmanam. No, everybody cannot understand Gita very well. Everybody cannot read Sanskrit so very well. Then what? They will not get benefit or what? Paramatma says no, nothing like that. Even those who listen to this knowledge, even those who listen to this knowledge with faith, with Shraddha, and without envy, will be liberated from the sins and attain the auspicious abodes. That means the Svargaloka where the pious dwell. So they can also attain Svargaloka, those who can only listen to the Gita. What more we want now? Listening Gita can give us so much benefit. Not everyone has the intellect to comprehend in depth the importance of this dialogue between Shri Krishna and Arjuna. It depends on our past sanskars. How much knowledge we have from our past sanskars to digest, to understand this spiritual dialogue between Shri Krishna and Arjuna. Here Shri Krishna assures that if such people merely hear it with faith, he will also get benefited. God is seated with them. Sarvasyam Prasanna Vishnu. God is sitting in the hearts of everybody. He will note their sincerity of listening to the Gita, and he will reward them for that. Only listening of Gita. A story about Jagadguru Adya Shankaracharya. He had a disciple, Shishya. His name was Sananda. This Sananda was illiterate. He could not comprehend his Guru's teachings as other disciples could do. But when Shankaracharya delivered the discourse, he would listen to that discourse with full attention and with great faith. One day, he was washing his Guru's clothes on the other side of the river. At that time, it was time for the class. And the other disciples requested, Guruji, please begin the class. It is time now. Shankaracharya replied, let us wait. Sananda is not here. But the disciples, they argued, they urged to Shankaracharya ji that, but Guruji, as it is, he cannot understand much about what you are teaching. Shankaracharya said, it's true, but still he listens with great faith. So I do not want to disappoint him. Then to show power of faith, Shankaracharya called out, Sananda, please come here. On hearing Guru's words, Sananda did not hesitate. He was on the other side of the river. He ran on the water. That is what the story says. That he ran on the water. The story goes that everywhere where he placed his feet, lotus flowers sprang up to support him. He crossed the other bank and offered obeisances, namaskaram to his Guru. At that time, stuti, that means the praise in sloka, emanated from Sananda's mouth automatically for his Guru in a very sophisticated Sanskrit. People thought he illiterate. But deep Shraddha, faith can cause this wonder. The other disciples were shocked. They were amazed to hear his Sanskrit. Since lotus flowers had bloomed under his feet of Sananda, his name became Padmapada. Padmapada means one with lotus flower under his feet. He became one of the four main disciples of Shankaracharya along with Sureshacharya, Hastamalaka and Trotakacharya. See, in this story, the magic of faith. Shankaracharya was the guru, accomplished guru. And faith was natural for Sananda. But even when the guru is fake or unreal and the faith is real, Shraddha is real, the magic remains same. So the focal point is Shraddha. In 17th Adhyay, we have a shlok at the end of 17th Adhyay. Ashraddhaya hudandattan tapastaptan kritan kiyat asadityachyate partha nachat tat pretya no iho. So, life or in the next life as well. So coming back to this shloka, Shri Krishna assures Arjuna that even those who merely hear this sacred dialogue with great faith, with great Shraddha, their heart will gradually become purified. We just heard the story of a disciple of Shankaracharya as to how this Shraddha of Sananda laid wonder. Here Shraddha was the main focal point. Faith, Shraddha can do wonders. There was a village. One day a sadhu came to that village who was really in reality a fake sadhu, a cheat, a fraud. He said below a banyan tree in yogic mudra as if he was a great yogi. Poor villagers thought that he is some great sannyasi, great yogi, and they offered their obeisances, namaskaram to him, and also offered prasadam to him every morning, evening. He soon became very well known in that area as an accomplished sadhu, Sadhu Maharaj, Sadhu Maharaj. Once a poor villager came to him with folded hands and he requested him, Sadhu Maharaj, please give me some siddhi, some magical siddhi. This fake sadhu, he said, sure, you will get some unique siddhi, but for that you will have to serve me for 12 years. Offer seva to me for 12 years, then you will get siddhi. The villager agreed. He started all sorts of seva for his guru, washing his clothes, cooking food for him, giving him a body massage, giving him bath, whatnot, everything. 12 years passed. The villager requested Sadhu, Maharaj, can you please give me some siddhi now? Sadhu said, of course, yes. You have served me for 12 years, now you already have got the siddhi. The villager asked, really? Can I walk on water now? Sadhu Maharaj said, of course, definitely, you can walk on water now. You have got that siddhi now. The villager had great Shraddha in his Sadhu's words, his Guru's words. He was very happy. He ran to the river to try and walk on the water. All the villagers followed him to see that wonder of walking on water. The Sadhu Maharaj also went behind him. The villagers offered his obeisances to his Guru with great Shraddha and put his first foot on the water. And what a wonder! He started walking with ease on water. He went to the other bank of the river and came back. Now this fake Sadhu Maharaj was surprised but did not show his surprise on his face. He thought, if this man can walk on water by just offering me seva, I must be really great. And I can also walk on water. So he said to his villagers, now look at me. I can even run on the water. And he put his first foot on the river water. And what happened, you can imagine. He drowned. He had no faith, no Shraddha. But though he was fake, the Shraddha of his disciple, that villager, was real. And real Shraddha can do wonders. Bhagavad Gita, of course, does not advise such blind faith. It opposes blind faith. You have to analyze with your intellect and then decide whether you want to trust or not. Slok 72. Kachidetachyutam partha tvayekagrena chetasa kachidajnana sammoha pranashaste dhananjayo. Arjuna, have you heard me with concentrated mind? Tvayekagrena chetasa. Have your ignorance, your illusion been dispelled? Kachidajnana sammoha pranashaste dhananjaya. Arjuna, your religion, your ignorance has been dispelled, has been destroyed. Did you hear me with full concentration? So Sri Krishna has taken the position of Arjuna's teacher. It is natural for teacher to inquire intermittently with his student. आपको समझ में आ रहा है कि मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? Isn't it like that? So he asked Arjuna whether he has grabbed the subject or not. Sri Krishna's intention of asking the question is that if Arjuna has not understood some principles, he is ready to re-explain. Great patience of Shri Krishna. Or go into more details of that particular principle. Slok 73. Arjunam vacho nashto mohasmritirlabdha tvatprasadanmayachito stitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. Arjuna said, by your grace, Shri Krishna, my illusion has been dispelled. Nashto mohasmritirlabdha. My memory has come back. I had forgotten what I am supposed to do. As a Kshatriya, my duty was to fight the war. I had forgotten that. My Smriti had gone. No, Smriti has come back. Smriti Labdha. Nashto moha. My illusion is dispelled, destroyed. Now I am situated in the knowledge. I am now free from all doubts and shall act according to your instructions. Karishye vachanantava. Karishye vachanantava. See, at the outset, Arjuna was faced with a very confusing, bewildering situation and confused about his duty in this situation at Kurukshetra. Overwhelmed with sorrow, he had sat down in his chariot. In the first adhyaya, we read the slok. Visrujya sashanai chapam shokasam vigna manasaha. Visrujya sashanai, he gave up his bow and arrows and sat down shokasam vigna. He had confessed then in second adhyaya that he could find no remedy to the grief that attacked his body and senses. Nahi prapashyami mamapanudyat yachokamucho shanamendriyanam. That slok we read in second adhyaya. But now, with this slok, nashtamo siddhi labdha tat prasadan mayachita sidosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanantava. He now finds himself completely transformed and announces that he is situated in the knowledge and no longer perplexed. He has given himself to the will of God now. Karishye vachanantava. And will do exactly as Shri Krishna has instructed. This was the impact of message of Gita on him. However, Arjuna adds, Tvat prasadan mayachita. Tvat prasadat mayachita. Meaning, O Shri Krishna, it was not just your lecture on Bhagavad Gita, but your grace, your prasad, that dispelled my ignorance. See, material knowledge does not require grace. Material knowledge does not require grace. We can pay educational institution or the teacher the required fee and receive the knowledge in exchange. But spiritual knowledge can neither be purchased, neither sold. It is bestowed through grace and received through faith and humility. Thus, if we approach Bhagavad Gita with an attitude of pride, I am so intelligent, I can inspect, understand every sloka of Bhagavad Gita and find out what is the net worth of Bhagavad Gita. If you take this position, that you want to find the worth of Bhagavad Gita, we will never be able to comprehend it. People with such attitude will never understand what is Gita. There is only one gentleman, one person who knows Gita in totality, and that is Lord Krishna himself. Rest of us, all we are trying with our limited intellect, with our limited reading, with our limited understanding to configure what Sri Krishna has said. And we are trying to somehow configure to the best of our knowledge, only trying to understand it somehow. Our poor intellect will probably find some defect in the scripture, and on that pretext, we will reject the entire scripture as incorrect. मेरी बुद्धि को समझ में नहीं आता है, so everything is wrong. That will be foolish. There have been so many commentaries on Bhagavad Gita and innumerable readers of divine message in the last 5,500 years. We are not the first one. But how many of these have become enlightened like Arjuna? People have written huge books, thick books, running into thousands of pages. People have delivered lectures on Gita day in and day out for the whole of their life. But how many of them have become enlightened like Arjuna? You will be surprised. You will be surprised. Two of my students from L4, a few years back, they were students in L4, they have written books on Bhagavad Gita. And they send me the copies for commentary. How is this book? Now, these people who have written books on Bhagavad Gita, have they become enlightened? If we truly wish to receive this knowledge, we must not merely read it, but also attract Shri Krishna's grace with an attitude of faith and loving surrender. Then by His grace, the true lessons of Bhagavad Gita will be revealed to us. So grace of God is a must. You may study thousands of books, but if you don't have the grace of God, you cannot understand anything. Slok 74. Ityaham vasudevasya. This is Sanjaya Vacha. Sanjaya Vacha. Ityaham vasudevasya. Parthasya cha mahatmanaha. Samvadmimam ashrausham. Adbhutam romaharshanam. Sanjay said, thus, have I heard this wonderful conversation between Shri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, and Arjuna, the noble-hearted son of Prutha. Prutha means Kunti. So thrilling is the message that my hair is standing on the end. मतलब मैं रोमांचित हो गया हूँ. I am रोमांचित, remembering all that. In this way, Sanjaya comes to the end of narration of the divine discourse of Bhagavad Gita. Ityaham vasudevasya parthasya cha mahatmanah sammadmimam vishrausham adbhutam romaharshanam. He refers to Arjuna as Mahatma, great soul, as he has heeded the advice and instructions of Yogeshwar Shri Krishna, and hence has become eminently wise now. He got the knowledge. Sanjay now remarks how amazed and astounded he is on hearing their divine dialogue. The hair standing on end is one of the signs of deep devotional fervor. The Bhakti Rasamrut Sindhu, it says there are 8 signs of the devotional ecstasy. What are those 8 signs? Becoming stupefied and motionless. Second, sweating. Third, hair standing on the end, romanchit hona. Choking of voice, trembling, color of face becoming pale, shedding tears, and fainting. So these are the 8 signs of devotional ecstasy. People who are deep in devotion, you can notice one of these or many of these in them. Sanjay is experiencing such immense devotional sentiment now that his hair is bristling with divine joy. One may ask how it was possible for Sanjay to hear this dialogue that took place on a far-off battlefield in Kurukshetra. He is sitting in Hastinapur. The dialogue is taking place in Kurukshetra. How did he hear all that? He reveals this in the next shloka. By the way, at the end of this session, we will take a quick summary of entire Bhagavad Gita. What is the takeaway for us? We will take few shlokas which are takeaway shlokas from Bhagavad Gita. So please do attend that part wherein we will discuss few selected shlokas of Bhagavad Gita to find out what are the takeaways for us. Okay, continue Shlok 75. Sanjay is revealing the secret. Vyasa prasada chutaman etad guhyamaham param yogain yogeshwarat krishnat sakshat kathayata swayam. By grace of Maharishi Vedavyas, I have heard this supreme and most secret yoga. Ishvara, Shri Krishna himself, sakshat kathayata swayam. Shri Krishna, rather the Maharishi Vedavyas' name was Shri Krishna Dvaipayan Vyasadeva. That was his name, Maharishi Vedavyas, also known as the spiritual master of Sanjay. By the grace of his guru, that means Maharishi Vedavyas, Sanjay had been blazed with the power of spiritualistic mind reader. There is a word in English for that, clairvoyance. Clairvoyance is a person who is spiritualistic mind reader. He can read the mind. That is to know all that transpired on the battleground of Kurukshetra while he sat in the royal palace of Hastinapur. Sanjay acknowledged that it was due to his guru's mercy, Maharishi Vedavyas's mercy, that he got the opportunity to hear the supreme science of yoga from the Lord of Yoga himself, Yogeshwara, Sakshat Kathayata Swayam, Shri Krishna. Maharishi Vedavyas, the author of Brahma Sutras, the 18 Puranas, the Mahabharata, and other scriptures, was a associate of God only, the descension of God only. He possesses all clairvoyant power himself. That means the power of spiritualistic mind reader he was. Thus, he not only heard the conversation between Shri Krishna and Arjuna, but also the one between Sanjay and Dhritarashtra. As a result, he included both conversations while compiling Bhagavad Gita. Slok 76. Rajan sanspratya samvadamimabadbhutam keshavarjunayah punyam rishyami cha muhurmuhu. Sanjay says, as I repeatedly recall this astonishing and wonderful dialogue between Supreme Lord Shri Krishna and Arjuna, O King, I rejoice again and again. Here King is Dhritarashtra. I rejoice again and again. See, a spiritual experience gives happiness that is far, far, far more thrilling and satisfying than all material joys put together. Sanjay is rejoicing, he is rejoicing in such happiness and sharing his experiencing with Dhritarashtra, king. Reflecting and remembering the wonderful dialogue between Shri Krishna and Arjuna, he says he is feeling divine bliss. This indicates the mahatta, the badappan, or the greatness of the knowledge contained in this scripture of Bhagavad Gita. And the divine Leela. Leela is called pastime in English. So the divine Leela that Sanjay was able to witness, it was all Paramatma's Leela, na? To show his Virat rope, to his two-armed form, four-armed form, Sahasra form, all that. So these are all Paramatma's Leelas. Sanjay was fortunate enough to witness this, all Leelas of Paramatma. So he's saying, Rishyami cha muhurmuhu. Slok 77. Taccha sanspratya rupamatyadbhutam harehe vismayo me mahan rajan rishyami cha punah punaha. And remembering that most astonishing and most wonderful cosmic form of Shri Krishna, the Virat Roop that we studied in Adhyaya 11, great is my astonishment. And I am thrilled with joy over and over again. Rishyami cha punah punaha. Arjuna was blessed with the vision of that cosmic form of Lord Virat Roop, which is rarely seen even by the greatest yogis. Sri Krishna said this in the 11th Adhyaya. Sri Krishna told him that he was showing him this universal form, Virat Roop, because Arjuna was his devotee and a friend, close friend, dear friend. And thus, he was very dear to him. Sanjay also came to see the cosmic form because he was fortunate to be a part of the divine pastime, that divine Leela, as a narrator of Leela. He had the fortune to become a narrator of Leela Paramatma. That's why he was able to see that Virat Roop. There are times when an unexpected grace comes our way. It happens in our life sometimes. If we utilize that grace properly, we can progress rapidly on our spiritual sadhana. Sanjay is repeatedly contemplating upon what he saw and is flowing in the current of devotion, being overwhelmed. So he is saying, punah punah, punah punah. And now the last sloka of Bhagavad Gita. Yatra yogeshwara krishno, yatra partho dhanurdharaha, tatra shreir vijayo bhutir, dhruva nitir matir mama. Wherever there is Lord Shri Krishna, the Lord of all yogas, Yogeshwara, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, Dhanurdhara, there will certainly be unending opulences, victory, prosperity, and the righteousness. Shri Vijaya Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Mama. So all will be there on the side where Lord Shri Krishna and Arjuna are there. Bhagavad Gita concludes with this shlok delivering a deep pronouncement. Dhritarashtra was apprehensive of the outcome of the war. Sanjaya informs him that material calculations of the relative strengths and the number of two armies were irrelevant. Kaurav's army was much bigger than Pandava's army. There can only be one verdict in this war. Victory will always be on the side of God and his pure devotee. So will be the goodness, supremacy, and abundance will be on their side only. God is independent, self-sustaining sovereign of the entire world and the worthiest object of adoration and worship. Upanishad says, there is no one equal to him, there is no one greater than him. Arjuna also said this in the 11th Adhyay. Nattat samoste bidigakkutonyo lokatreye tat pratibha prabhav. He merely needs a proper medium to manifest his incomparable glory. The soul who surrenders to him provides such a vehicle for the glory of the God to shine forth. So if we can have that kind of faith, that Shraddha, our soul can also become a vehicle for manifestation of God. Thus, wherever the Supreme Lord and his pure devotees are present, the light of absolute truth will always vanquish the dark of falsehood. There can be no other outcome. This is the only thing possible. In effect, Sanjay is declaring to Dhritarashtra, know for sure that it is Pandavas who will be victorious. The war will end in the victory of the sons of Pandavas. Sanjay himself is very overwhelmed with all that he has heard and seen. Repeatedly remembering the Lord's words, his magnificent forms, he keeps rejoicing in excitement. Sri Krishna may have well spoken to Arjuna, but Sanjay too listened with a singular attentive mind. And he communicated everything to his king, Dhritarashtra. So, in effect, three persons heard Sri Krishna's discourse: Arjuna, Sanjay, and Dhritarashtra. Now, Arjuna being Sattva Guni, he was liberated instantaneously. Sanjay had predominant of Rajoguna, yet due to grace of Maharishi Vedavyas, he is experiencing exhilarating, thrilling joy. But being Tamasi by nature, Dhritarashtra is still the same, no change in him. He is still hankering after the victory of his sons, even after listening to the Gita. Though Sanjay made a clear-cut announcement that the victory will be on the side of Pandavas, Dhritarashtra was still hankering that his sons will win the war. Thus he could not listen despite listening. He listened to the Gita but did not understand, did not listen it. As a consequence of not stopping the war, despite declaration from Sanjay that Pandavas were going to win the war, he had finally immersed himself in grief and agony, witnessing destruction, devastation happening all around him. He lost all his 100 sons. It was indeed his misfortune that despite listening to Sri Krishna's illuminating discourse, he could not take himself out from the swamp of attachment. Real tragedy. The gist of matter is that mere listening of Gita will not benefit those who are of tamasic disposition. There is some hope for Rajasic people, but only if they are endeavoring to purify their intellect. If they are working towards deepening of their faith, then it may help the Rajasic people also. The Sattvic individuals amongst people will be experiencing the state of Sanjay, if not of Arjuna. Now this is the end of 18th Adhyay and Bhagavad Gita as well. But having come from Adhyay 1 to Adhyay 18, what have we learnt? If somebody asks you that you learnt in Gita Pariwar Gita for so many months, all 18 Adhyayas you have learnt, you can read those very fluently, very nice. What have you learnt from Gita? What shall we say? What are our takeaways from Gita for us? This is the time now to ponder over this and list down a few important messages of Gita to bring them in our day-to-day life. There are key life-changing lessons from the few shlokas of Bhagavad Gita which are essential for everyone, including professionals, students, entrepreneurs, in anyone. Bhagavad Gita teaches the intricacies of life to us and how to deal with them, how to deal with those intricacies of life. The first lesson, the first takeaway from Gita is Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phale heturbhur mate sangostva karmani. 47 sloka from second adhyay. You have the right to perform the prescribed duties, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your karma, your action. Karma phala, you have no right on karma phala. Never consider yourself to be the cause of results of your karma and not be attached to inaction. Doing karma is a must. This simply means that you must always focus on your action and not on the karma phala result. Now, what is important? Result is important or action is important? Obviously, action. Because if you want good results, first improve your action. Focus on what is sure. Action is sure. Focus on sure. What is sure? That is action. And not on what is unsure. The result is unsure. So don't focus on unsure. Focus on sure. That means the action, karma. Because if the results are not as per your expectations, pain is unavoidable. Shri Krishna also said, never consider yourself to be the cause of results of your karma. Because they are not solely depend on your efforts only. It depends on multiple factors. In 18th Adhyay, we have said, Panchaitani Mahabaho Karanani Nibodhame Sankhya Krutante Pruktani Siddhaye Sarva Karmanam. What are the 5 factors? Adhishtanan Tatha Karta Karanaicha Pratak Vidam Vividashta Pratak Cheshta Daivai Chaivatra Panchamam. 5 factors are responsible for your karma phala. Your alone efforts cannot be the reason for your karma phala. Then he also says, do not attach yourself to inaction. Nishkriyata mat karo. Because sometimes when the work is hard and burdensome, we resort to inaction. Krishna says, don't do that. So never lose interest in what you do. This was the first takeaway. Second takeaway, be fearless. Consciousness, that means the soul within you is neither born nor does it die. Slok 20 from second adhyay. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन्नायं भूत्वा भविता न भूयः अजो नित्य शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. So be fearless. The biggest fear in our life is the fear of death. We all know that one day we all are going to die. Somebody sooner, somebody later. Everybody is going to die. But don't worry. Shri Krishna says, don't worry. The consciousness, the soul within us is glorious, is fearless, free from old age and is immortal. Death is solely the destruction of the body. The consciousness neither is neither born nor does it ever die. This is explained in Nene Chindati Shastrani, all these shlokas also. It has existed. The soul has existed forever and will continue to exist. Eliminate the fear of death from your mind, because the fear of death creates deterrence in whatever you want to achieve in your life. This was the second takeaway. Third takeaway is Karmendriyani Sanyamya Yaste Manasa Smaran Indriyarthan Vimudhatma Mithyacharasa Uchyate. Sixth shloka from third adhyay. Those who restrain their external organs, their senses, while continually thinking about the sense objects in their mind, certainly delude themselves and are to be called hypocrites, mithyachar. So forcefully restraining your senses is not something which will help you. Mano nigraha is more important than indriya nigraha. Parties going on, ladies are wearing beautiful dresses. You are thinking in your mind about some beautiful ladies. You are not doing anything practically. But the thoughts in mind are going about that. You are fasting, you are not eating anything, but in mind you are always thinking of some food items. I will eat this, I will eat that. Paramatma says, this is mithyachar. So this lesson we have to follow. Whatever we do it with mano nigraha as well. Outwardly we do something and internally we are thinking of something. That is mithyachar. Paramatma says, vimudhatma. So this was the third takeaway. Fourth takeaway, Arjuna had asked a question in third adhyay. Atakena prayukto yam papai charati purushaha anichannapi varshneya bala divanyo jitaha. This sincere, good-looking man, why does he do papa karma? What forces him to do papa karma? Paramatma says in the reply, and this is a takeaway for us, Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samadbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vidhena miha vairinam. It is lust, kamana alone, which is born out of contact with the mode of passion, rajasa. Rajoguna samudbhava. It is born out of our rajoguna. And later transform into anger, krodha. If kamana doesn't get fulfilled, krodha will happen. If it gets fulfilled, attachment will happen. So both ways it is detrimental for us. Know this as the sinful and all-devouring enemy in the world. Mahashano Mahapapma Vidhena Miha Vairinam. So kamana is our enemy number one. Krodha is a byproduct of kamana. So we have to attack our kamana. And kamana has been blamed as our enemy number one in many shlokas of Gita. So this is another takeaway. That will curb down on our materialistic kamanas. Fifth takeaway, three gateways of our downfall and our self-destruction. In 16th Adhyay, Paramatma says, Trividan naragasedan dvaranashanam kamakrodhas tatha lobhas tasmad detatrayen tejet. Lust, greed, anger are the gateways to one's downfall and self-destruction. That is hell. These are the root causes of virtually every single problem in the human life. Lust, greed, and anger. If a person is lustful, greedy, and remains angry, then this leads to the downfall of self-destruction. It all starts with lust, kamana. Lust leads to greediness, as you want more and more of something by any means. Finally, at some point, your lust turns into anger when you are not able to get that thing anymore. This destroys your peace of mind, which is synonymous to self-destruction, synonymous to the hell. So, lust, greed, and anger actually disturb the balance of mind and our consciousness. These things block the spiritual path and therefore called gateways to the hell. So this was the fifth takeaway. Sixth takeaway is learn to tolerate. Nothing is permanent in this life. 14th sloka from 2nd Adhyay. Matra sparashastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhadaha agama paino nityas tansti tikshasva bharata. Tikshasva, tolerate. Winter and summers are temporary in nature. Similarly, pain and pleasure are impermanent. Anitya. They will come, agama, and they will go. They are anitya. They are not permanent. So this is another thing. Tough times will come and they will go in our life. Learn to tolerate them without being affected by them. Don't get disturbed. Don't start jumping in joy when you get some ananda, when you get something favorable, and don't get into depression when you get something unfavorable. Matra sparashastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha agama paino nityas tamasti dikshasva bharata. Nothing is permanent in this world. The only thing that is constantly changing is the change itself. Change is a permanent thing. So do not worry. This is another lesson we get from Bhagavad Gita. Seventh takeaway is Asamshayam mahabaho manodur nigrahe chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha griyate. In 6th Adhyay, Arjuna had asked a question. Chanchalami krishna pramati balavadrunam tasyahan nigraham manne vayor yosadushkaram. Arjuna's question was, how to catch hold of this mind? It is catching mind, making it sthir, placed into at one place, is like trying to catch the wind. Paramatma says, Vasamshaya Mahabaho. What you say, Arjuna, is correct, perfectly correct. Manodurnigrahi chalam. Very difficult to control the mind. But Abhyas iritu kaunteya vairagyena cha griyate. With Abhyas, Abhyas means doing the same thing again and again. Practice. And Vairagya. Vairagya means not going to Himalaya, but getting detached from the material world. So Abhyas and Vairagya, these are the two things which can help us to bring our mind under control. It may appear Vayu Rivasa Dushkaram, but even that mind can be restrained with Abhyas and Vairagya. So this is a great teaching for us. When mind is scattering here and there, we have to follow this two-pronged strategy, Abhyas and Vairagya. Abhyas and Vairagya. Arjuna, what you say is true. The mind is indeed very difficult to restrain, but by practice and detachment, it can be controlled. So this is a great lesson for us. Then eighth takeaway is become stable like the ocean. Slok 70 from second adhyay. Apuryaman machala pratishtam samudramapa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti nakama kami. Just as the ocean remains undisturbed by the continuous flow of waters from rivers merging into it. Rivers are constantly pouring water in the ocean, but it remains undisturbed. Likewise, the sage is unmoved despite the flow of desirable objects all around him. His senses are also catching sense objects in the world, but it remains undisturbed. He attains peace and not the people who strive themselves to satisfy their desire. Na kama kami. Those who are kami, they can never get that peace of mind. See, the rivers merge into ocean 24/7. But the ocean remains stable without being disturbed by the continuous flow of water from the rivers. Just like waters of rivers, endless thoughts will come into your mind. We cannot stop it. Mind is mind. It is absolutely normal for mind to have innumerable thoughts. Nothing to worry about it. Bad thoughts also knock on our mind. Yes, it does. But you will only attain peace in your life when you remain stable, just like the ocean, irrespective of the malignant thoughts that come to you. Reject thoughts that distract you from your goal. Discard temptations and desires that stop you from reaching your ultimate goal in life. So learn to choose. Learn to regulate your mind and senses and not the other way around. Do not let your mind and senses control your life. You control your mind and senses. Instead, take control of your mind and senses to work for you in your own hands. So this was the 8th takeaway. 9th takeaway, 7th sloka from 8th adhyay. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanuspariyudhyacho mayyarpitamano buddhir mame vaishyasya samshayam. This is a great sloka. I like this sloka very much. Because in one charan, mamanuspariyudhyacho, Paramatma has given bhakti yoga and karma yoga. Mamanuspara is bhakti yoga. Remember me. While doing your kartavya karma, yuddha was kartavya karma for Arjuna. We don't do kartavya yuddha. But whatever kartavya karma, prescribed duty we have, while performing those duties, Paramatma says, remember me. By doing this, we will be doing bhakti yoga and karma yoga both together. So therefore, always remember me and also do your duty of fighting the war, yuddhacha. With mind and intellect surrendered to me, you will definitely attain me. Mayyarpitamano buddhir mame vaishyasya asamshayam. And there is no doubt about it. So this shloka gives us the principles of bhakti yoga and karma yoga as well. So this is a takeaway for us. And 10th shloka that we studied in the beginning of this session today was the 66th shloka of 18th adhyay. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vrajo ahantva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Abandon all varieties of dharmas and surrender to me alone. I shall liberate you from all your sinful reactions. Do not worry, do not fear. But as we discussed in the beginning, we need to understand what is dharma. So there are two types of dharma. One is material dharma, another is spiritual dharma. You can give up your material dharma if you are taking the refuge of spiritual dharma. So that is sarva dharman parityaja. You can give up your material dharma. So this is another great lesson for us. That for taking the shelter of spirituality, we can abandon our material dharma. We discussed the examples of Prahlad and also Lakshmana, who relinquished their material dharma and joined Paramatma. So this is the 10th takeaway for us. Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja ahantva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. With this, we end today's sessions and the 18th adhyay of Bhagavad Gita with a sincere request to all of you to read Gita every day. If you cannot read all 18 adhyayas, read 9 adhyayas. If not 9, read 6 adhyayas. If not 6, read 3 adhyayas. If not 3, read at least 1 adhyay. But daily have the habit of contemplation, manan chintan on at least one shloka per day. One shloka. If one shloka takes time for you, you can take one shloka for 1 week, no problem. But this process of contemplation, Manan Chintan, has to be inculcated in our mind. That is the only way to learn Gita. Merely opening the book and reading da 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 da, that is not reading Gita. So with this request, I close today's session. Now the forum is open for all of you to raise your questions. Thank you so much for your listening. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you so much, Bhaiya, for your wonderful session. I extend my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to respected VikasJi, Vaidya.
Thank you.
Wonderful, thought-provoking session. Bhaiya, your presentation was very enlightening, and your insights imparted to us today were very profound, especially the takeaways from the Gita. So a gentle reminder for all the sadhaks that you kindly share the Vivechan Satras, Zoom, as well as YouTube links with your friends, family, and colleagues. And tomorrow we are going to start the new batch of L1, and all the sadhaks who have joined the classes are requested to join at the designated time. Now, as Bhaiya has said, the forum is open for the question answer session.
So you are most welcome. If you have any questions on the total 18th Adhyay or today's shlokas or any aspects of Gita, you are most welcome to raise your questions.
Hello. Thank you, sir. Jai Shri Krishna. Actually, it was an excellent presentation for the Vivechan today. Just I want to ask one personal question. Sir, how
Huh?
long you, one personal question to you, sir.
Yeah,
How long do you take to read all the adhyayas of Gita every day? And if it's
Oh,
possible,
okay.
and what time actually you get up and get your schedule of the reading Gita?
Okay. I get up at 5:30. I get up at 5:30, and without bothering to take shower, when I take a morning walk on my terrace or anywhere in the garden, I start reading Gita. I start saying Gita there, right from Dhritarashtra Vacha. So
Total.
6 Adhyay I can complete when I take a morning walk. Then when I take my tea, coffee, and then sit for some more time after reading newspaper, I can complete another 6 Adhyayas. And in the evening or in the afternoon, I complete another remaining 6 Adhyayas. So all 18 Adhyay you can complete easily. It's not necessary to complete all 18 Adhyay in one sitting. You can do it as per your own convenience. If you read all 18 Adhyay in one go, earlier it used to take 2 hours and 10 minutes for me. Now it takes only 1.5 hours at the most. 1.5 hours. So the way you read Gita every day, the things come automatically in your mind. And when you do contemplation, Manan Chintan, a video film starts taking round in your mind. When you say Dhritarashtra Vacha, you start seeing Dhritarashtra in front of your eyes, sitting in his palace in Hastinapur and asking Sanjaya. So every character in Bhagavad Gita comes in front of your eyes. Every shloka explained by Shri Krishna, every question of Arjuna starts taking round in your mind when you read Gita with some Manan Chintan, with some contemplation. So this is the benefit of Gita.
This contemplation is very difficult actually. Anyway, but
So that's why the Gita Pariwar is arranging this, no? The Vivekashastras are arranged for this, so that every shloka, we know the ins and outs of shlokas to the extent possible that we can. Even this we understand, it is more than enough. Then at least our thinking starts from that point onwards. That this, because Vaidya has said this about this shloka, what do I think about it? What do the other books say about it? What do the other...
Thank you, Vikas Bhaiya. Thank you.
So you
Very
have to
nice
go
of you.
with
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions, please?
Didi. You are not audible, Mamta Didi. Have you put some?
Can you explain the 64th, 18th Adhyaya, 64th sloka again?
64 sloka.
Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam Sharanam Braja.
66. That is 66. Sarva dharman parityajya. So we discussed today that dharma, this definition of dharma is to be understood clearly by us. Then only we can understand this message of Krishna. What does he mean by sarva dharman parityajya? Should we give up all our responsibilities or what? So that does not mean so. We have to understand that dharma is of two types. One is the material dharma and another is spiritual dharma. What dharma we have to follow, it depends upon how we look at ourselves. If we look at ourselves as a body, mind, intellect, we are a part of material, we are a part of Prakriti. Then material dharma is our dharma. But the way, if the day we start realizing that we are a soul and not the body, as explained by Shri Krishna in second adhyaya and many other adhyayas, when we realize that we are the soul, then the spiritual dharma becomes our dharma. When this is sarva dharman parityajya, when Krishna says sarva dharman parityajya, he says, even if you give up, relinquish your material dharma, to take refuge, to take shelter of spiritual dharma, then I will take care of all your papa karma. Because when you relinquish your material dharma, you give up your material responsibilities, isn't it? As we
Yes,
discussed
sir.
the example of Lakshmana. Lakshmana went to forest with Sri Ram. He left his wife, his family, his kingdom. Was it not his material dharma to take care of his family, his kingdom?
Yes, yes, Bhaiya.
Isn't it? But he gave up that to follow the path of spirituality. So Sarvadharman Parityajya, he gave up all that and followed the path of spiritual dharma. So Paramatma says, if you do that, it does not mean you give up your material dharma and do nothing. You give your material dharma and follow the principle of spiritual dharma. Then Paramatma says, then I will take care of you. Ahantva sarva apebhyo. I will take care of all your papa karma, which will result because of your relinquishing the material dharma. Mokshaishyamya shuchaha. I will give you the moksha. Don't worry. Okay.
And one more question was there. This is our second adhyaya. Just wanted to ask you. In the
Yeah.
second adhyaya, Arjun says, Katham Vishmaham Sankhye Dronencha Madhusudana. Does this shloka means that Arjun is saying, Krishna, that you have killed enemies? Katham Vishmaham Sankhye Dronencha Madhusudana. Vishabhi Prati Yotsyami Pujar Har Vari Sudana. Like those were the enemies and they were this Rakshas, है ना वो लोग?
No, no, no. It does not mean so. No, it does not mean so. It means Katham Bhishmam Sankhe. Aham is I. Katham is how. Bhishma is Pitamaha Bhishma. Sankhe is in the battlefield. So Arjuna is saying, how can I counterattack Pitamaha Bhishma? You should be
Yes,
Pratyos.
yes, Bhaiya, that's what I was saying. Arjuna is saying ki, you have killed enemies and you are telling me to kill Bhishma and Katham Bhishma Ham and Drona. So how can I kill Bhishma and Drona?
No. See, Madhusudana is being used here by Arjuna to remind Krishna that you also have killed Madhu, that demon called Madhu. That's why your name is Madhusudana. So you have killed demon. But here you are asking me to counterattack Pitama Bhishma. How can I do that? They are worth worshipping. Pujaraha. I worship them. So the Guru, the Pitama Bhishma whom I worship, how can I counterattack? It should be Pratyotsami. Pratyotsami, it should be, that means they can attack on me. They can shoot arrows on me. How can I counterattack on them? Katham Bhishmam Sanke. Katham, how? So this is what he is pleading to Krishna, that it is not right to fight the war, because I cannot fight against Pitama Bhishma.
Thank you, Bhaiya. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Next, any other questions?
Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Sunil, boliye.
So this sloka, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, giving up material
dharma.
Responsibilities. Yes, and I was thinking in different way, which was what you really give up is once you have the understanding that there is a soul and then there is the material, the Prakriti and Purusha, and if you give up that attachment, so you give up the doership, then all the material dharma belongs to the Prakriti. So the Prakriti can continue doing that. So what you have really given is paritajya of that which did not belong to you in the first place.
Yes. So the moment we realize that we are not a body, but we are soul, our dharma becomes totally different. Our swadharma becomes uniting our swa with the Paramatma. That is the swadharma then. And we have to follow that
Yes.
dharma. And for
Yes.
doing that dharma, if we relinquish our material dharma, Paramatma says, Ahantva sarva papebhyo. I will take care of your papa karma. You relinquish your
Yeah.
material dharma, you may incur some papa. Okay, fine, no problem. I will take care of
Just
it. Shyamasha, I will give you the moksha. Don't worry.
just the clarification that
Yeah.
once you recognize that you are the soul, so
Yeah.
as far as you are consider yourself as the soul, from that standpoint, you don't have any dharma other than to be the soul.
Yes.
But from the standpoint of the material body, which still exists,
Yes.
you cannot you cannot still confuse the soul's dharma and say, oh, you don't have any dharma. Yes, as the body, you still have all the dharmas that are there and they have to be performed. Because if you keep saying I, the confusion with the I, if you confuse the I still with the material body, then those dharmas continue to be applied because that understanding is not complete.
Yes, but the principle of this shloka is that I will perform the dharma according to the will of the God. Arjuna still fought the war, but he was earlier, Krishna was convincing him, Swadharma Bhipchaveksha. You are dharma kshatriya, you should fight the war because of your dharma, you are being kshatriya.
Yeah,
He'll
that
fight
is
the
where
war.
I'm saying that
Yeah.
because that's where I'm saying that as long as you use that I in the context of the material body, those dharmas or karmas that are required to be done by you in whatever situation, they should be done. You only thing you are paritejya is giving up that connection that you are doing it.
See, little bit more than that. Sri Krishna says, you perform your dharma, okay, fine, but you perform your dharma because you want to follow the will of the God. So Arjuna still, as I said, fought the war, but not because he was Kshatriya and he was asked to fight the war as a Kshatriya, but because he wanted to fulfill the will of God. So whether it is our material dharma or it is not, to fulfill the will of God is of paramount importance. But that is possible only if, see, this is karma sannyas. When you say sarvadharman parityajya, this is a very high level. When we do karma sannyas, as I said earlier, we have to follow the principles of karma yoga first. We need to understand what is nishkam karma yoga. Once we become expert in following our karma, kartavya karma, alongside worshipping the God mentally, so body is performing the material dharma and mind is attached to the spirituality. When this happens for many years, then we become expert on walking this balancing act of body working for the material dharma and mind working on the spiritual dharma. That time we become capable of doing karma sannyas. At that point in time, you can relinquish your material dharma and fully concentrate on spiritual dharma. Then Paramatma says, then I will take care of your other papebhyo.
Right. So that's where I keep thinking of many examples are given that somebody is self-realized, and what does he do? The physical body of that self-realized person does after that. He still, if he was getting water from the well, he continues doing that. In the standpoint from the body activities keep going on the way they were. There may not be any changes.
Very right. Correct. That's right. That's right.
Okay. Jessica.
Okay. Any other questions, please?
Jai Krishna Bhaiya, thank you very much for very inspiring Vivechan. So in the 71 sloka, if you listen Gita with the faith, then you reach the Shubha Lokan. Shubha Loka. So I actually wanted to know what is Shubha Loka, and if you refresh, because there are different lokas also we learn in the Gita, Svarga Loka, Narka Loka, and other things. If we can briefly touch them, the difference and their characteristics, etc. on. And the second question or the request to Gita Pariwar is that if the playlist of your Vivechan is available, that would be very nice per adhyas in the YouTube.
It is available, no? You can see Vivechan /Learngeeta.com. It is available on YouTube.
Available, okay. Per name of person or per name of.
Yeah, you can ask Vikas Vaidya and then select whatever adhyaya you want to learn.
Okay.
To re-listen again. And
Okay.
see, STK has already shared learngeeta.com/Vivechan. So that is the
Okay.
place you will be asked to select the Vivechak and the
Vivechak.
Adhyaya. So you can select that Vivechak of whom you want to hear that Vivechan and the Adhyaya about which you want to hear.
Okay.
You can get this. Whatever we are speaking today, every word of it is recorded on YouTube. You can have it.
Okay.
Okay, now coming back to your question about you were saying 71 shloka.
Yeah.
Shrunuyadapi yonaraha. Shrunuyadapi yonaraha. So, as I said, everybody is not having the samskar, past samskars by which he can absorb the entire knowledge of Gita. You need some past samskars of yours in your family or in your genes. Then only you can probably absorb quite a few of the principles of Gita. But what about those who do not have these samskars? So Paramatma is giving a way for them also that they can listen to it with Shraddha. Listening with Shraddha also will get them to Shubhan Loka. Shubha Loka is the Loka where the pious, the elevated souls, they reside. That is called the Swarga Loka. So merely listening of Gita can take us to Swarga. But as we know, Swarga is a temporary residence. After our sattvic karmas get exhausted, get depleted, we have to come back again here in the cycle of birth and death. So Swarga is a temporary thing. Gita is setting our sights much higher than Swarga. Paramatma has said in the 18th Adhyaya also. Brahma bhuvana loka punaravarti Arjuna mamupete to kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. Until Brahma loka, all lokas are two-way traffic. You go there and come back. After you exhaust your sattvic karma, punya karma, you have to come back. Mamupete to kaunteya. When you achieve me, punarjanma na vidyate. Then you will not get trapped in this cycle of birth and death. So Gita is setting our sights high. Swargaloka is what we have been taught by our forefathers, by our grandparents. Gita says Swargaloka is a small objective. Why do you run after Swargaloka? Why don't you come to me? So this is what Gita is preaching us. Shubhan Loka is Swargaloka. Merely listening of Gita can take us to Swargaloka.
And as you said, Bhaiya, the Brahmaloka is also temporary. If you do not
Brahmaloka
maintain that.
Brahmaloka is a part of Prakriti. Brahmadeva himself is a part of Prakriti. Brahmadeva follows the rules of Prakriti. He also perishes one day. In Adhyaya we know. After 100 years of Brahmadeva, he also perishes. And new Brahmadeva will be created by Lord Vishnu. So Brahmadeva, Brahmaloka, everything is a part of Prakriti and Prakriti is perishable. Only thing that is not perishable is Paramatma himself. So that's why he is inviting us to him. Mamapeta to Kaunteya. Kaunteya, Kunti Putra Arjuna, you come to me. Punarjanma na vidyate. Then you don't get back into this cycle of birth and death. No Punarjanma then.
Okay, thank you, Bhaiya.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, please?
Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna, Bhaiya.
Jai
Thank
Shri
you
Krishna.
for the wonderful Vivesan you had given.
Thank you.
Bhaiya, I want to read the Gita with word by word meaning. Can I get any preference book? Can you suggest any book? I have already I have collected some books. Bhagavad Gita by Swami Ram Sukadas.
That is a good book. That is a good that Sadhu Chintan. That is a good book. For beginners, that is a good book. I mean, it explains the basic principles of Gita in very simple words and simple to understand philosophy. So that is a good book. That what you are mentioning.
Okay.
It is there available in
Thank
Hindi,
you.
Marathi, English, all the languages, and you can definitely
Yeah.
refer to that book.
I have got English translation.
Yeah.
Recently, I got this one, and moreover, I also listen your Vivesans. If there is a PDF of your Vivesan, I want to download that also.
See, there are PDF that will be shared of each Vivechan. Everything that is spoken in the Vivechan, there is a PDF that is circulated. And that PDF is available on the Gita Pariwar site also. When you click on to that learngeeta.com/Vivechan, you will see the PDF as well as the link to YouTube. And you can either listen to it or you can download the PDF and you can get to know what exactly has been spoken in this Vivechan today or any other Vivechan for that matter. So PDF form is also available and video form is also available.
Thank you, Bhaiya.
Thank you.
Jai Shri.
Any other questions, please?
Done, Bhaiya.
Yeah. Any other questions?
If questions are not there, we may, with your permission,
Okay.
proceed.
Okay. So if there are no questions, we can wind up the session for today. We can keep on discussing in every Vivechan any Adhyaya of Gita. There is no restriction that today's Vivechan is for 18th Adhyaya. So questions will be restricted to only 18th Adhyaya or those selected few 10-15 shlokas. Everything is open in Gita Pariwar. You can raise your questions on any Adhyaya in any session. Okay. Let us close the session then.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Bhaiya. I extend my heartiest gratitude to
Thank you.
most revered VikasJi, Vaidya ji, Bhaiya, and for the wonderful, thought-provoking session, giving all the intricacies in a very sublime and scientific way. All the Vivechan, it was really very touching and just diffusing most of the confusions we were having. We would like to thank each and every sadhak that who have attended Vivechan, and without them, it won't have been of any possibility. On behalf of Gita Pariwar, I extend sincere thanks to the technical team, especially respected Rashmi Mate Didi, for the relentless efforts in making this session a great success. You are now, all of the sadhaks are requested to join us for Hanuman Chalisa after the prayer. So we now move on for the prayer, and for reciting prayer, I invite Jenny Deepika Ji. Jenny Deepika Ji, you are welcome. Jenny Deepika Ji is from Done in Andhra Pradesh. She's lecturer in private college and she's MA, and she joined Gita Pariwar in June 2023 and rendering the seva of core trainer for level 1.
Can I start, Bhaiya? Yogesham Satchidanandau Vasudevau Rajapriyam Dharma Samsthapakau Veeram Krishnau Vande Jagadgurum Shri Krishnau Vande Jagadgurum. Thank you so much, Bhaiya.
Thank you very much, Deepika Ji. Jenny Deepika Ji, for the wonderful melodious prayer for all of us. Thank you. Now, all are requested once again to join us for the Hanuman Chalisa.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारी बरन रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि करहु कलेश विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र ध्वजा विराजय कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजय शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबेको आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबेको रसिया राम लखन सीता मन वसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सिंहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही समभाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावै अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र योजन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर पल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होतन आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपै तीनों लोक हाकते कापै भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवै महावीर जब नाम सुनावै नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावै मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावै सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावै सोई अमित जीवन फल पावै चारों जुग प्रताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नो निधि के दाता असबर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावै जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावै अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटई मिटई सब पीरा जो सुमिरै हनुमत बल बीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर गोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़ हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय।
Jai Shri Krishna, everyone.